Hey everybody, it's Griffin, and today we're going to be talking about a few different franchises that I recently either watched or rewatched, and just to give my honest opinion on them and my recommendations to you. Starting off with the Terrifier trilogy. Now, for some reason, when I see Terrifier talked about lately, even by people involved in the creation of the Terrifier films, they have neglected to mention that Terrifier 2, despite the title, is actually the third in a trilogy. The first film in the trilogy is All Hallows Eve, and it is somewhat of a horror anthology. It only has 3 short stories or short films and 1 connective story or short film in it, where anthologies typically have more than that. I really enjoyed All Hallows Eve. Some things I liked about it: it's set during Halloween. It has like a very good Halloween slash spooky, scary fall vibe to it. I really loved the connective story. A lot of times I noticed with anthology films, they don't really have a good connective story, or there's not really something strong connecting all of the different short films together. But this really had that going for it. I loved our main protagonists in that. The 2 kids and the babysitter. I really liked all 3 of them. And I thought the acting in this one, in All Hallows Eve, was pretty strong all the way around. I loved the first short film and the third short film. The second one was not great, but I did really like the Easter egg in that one that happens towards the end of it. I do feel like there is a connection between that one and Terrifier. The kills were pretty good in this. There was some not so great CGI. Not a ton of practical effects, especially when compared to Terrifier and Terrifier 2, but what they did have I thought was really good. So I would say this was decent. I would definitely say that personally I like it more than most of the horror anthology movies that I've seen, but I'm not a big fan of that subgenre. Moving on to Terrifier. I love this character of Art the Clown. I feel like it's just genius character creation, because you have things that are typical of slashers. He's got some characteristics of like different slashers, and although he doesn't speak, he is like a mime. He still has this like comedic factor to him. And this one, I thought that the acting was pretty decent for the most part. Not much of a story in this one, so that's a little bit of a negative. I thought the kills were good and the practical effects were good. I thought the runtime of this one was pretty good, but there wasn't much of a story, really. All Hallows Eve, even though it was like an anthology film, it had much more of a story or an arc to it. But I really liked kind of the lore that these 2 movies set up together. And then moving into Terrifier 2, the positives, again, I would say the character Art the Clown. Again, the kills, the blood, the gore, the practical effects are top-notch in this. There is one scene in Terrifier 2 that honestly did disturb me. Everybody kind of has their things that like kind of gross them out, and this scene, without giving any spoilers, definitely has something in it that really grossed me out. I really enjoyed some of like the stylistic things that they did in this, and like a departure from the first 2. I would say out of the 3, Terrifier 2 has some of the weakest acting, and I thought the runtime for Terrifier 2 was a little long. I'm not opposed to a long runtime. I just feel like if they were gonna do this long of a runtime, then they could have made better use of the time at some points. Although I didn't really find it to, like, as I was watching it, to really drag that much in any points that I can really point out, except maybe towards the end. There's like one of those like stylized sequences I was talking about. That part dragged a little bit. It just felt like the entire plot of the movie and everybody in it just absolutely just stopped and was like at a standstill. I also feel like for the runtime that it had, we should have gotten more answers as to what's really going on, you know, who is Art, a little bit more about the paranormal aspect of it, connections between the three films, just stuff like that. Like, we should have gotten more answers to, like, the lore than what we got, which was basically nothing. I noticed there were 2 instances in the movie where there was, like, some hints at answers, but I literally had to pause and rewind and go back and, like, actually pause the movie to even see these clues as, you know, to what's going on, and clues to Art's origin and connections to other character, like the 2 main kids in it, connections to their father. It's hard to talk about all this stuff without giving any spoilers, so I'll just say I like the trilogy. Wouldn't recommend it to anybody that's not like a hardcore horror fan, somebody that's really a big fan of practical effects. It is on the extreme end, all 3 of them. I have recommended like more extreme horror movies to people in the past, and in some cases I kind of feel bad about that, and I don't really want to do that anymore. So like, unless you're a horror fan and this is something that you are seeking out to watch yourself, I wouldn't really recommend it. There's some stuff in there that's pretty gross, pretty disturbing, so just as a warning. I do think all 3 have rewatchability. I've rewatched the first one and the second one. I haven't gone back and to rewatch Terrifier 2 just because of the runtime. Moving on to the next franchise, and that is the Jurassic World franchise. I bring this up because I recently got the Ultimate Collection, and I got this on 4K, which comes with the 4Ks and the Blu-rays. I just did this because there was a sale going on, so it ended up being like the same price as what the Blu-rays would have been. And this comes with the extended edition of Jurassic World Dominion, which is the cut that I would recommend watching. So I love Jurassic Park. It's absolute classic. I love The Lost World, and I like Jurassic World and Jurassic World Dominion, like I said, the extended cut. In my opinion, Jurassic Park 3 and Jurassic World Forbidden Kingdom, you can skip them. However, I still recommend picking this up just because you're getting all the other ones in one shot, including that extended cut of Dominion. Next up, I wanted to talk about the Halloween franchise, and specifically the most recent Halloween trilogy done by David Gordon Green and Danny McBride. I absolutely loved the 2018 Halloween. I thought it was a great follow-up to the original. I really loved the score to that movie. Loved Jamie Lee Curtis in it, and obviously Michael and what they did with his character and the mask. I thought it had a good storyline. There was some good kills. Then moving on to Halloween Kills. I didn't care for Halloween Kills at all. I went back and I rewatched the extended cut of Halloween Kills, which I thought did slightly improve it. And that one I felt like they almost gave Michael like this paranormal quality, like they just made him just this unkillable machine, almost like a Terminator. And although it did kind of live up to the name, there was plenty of carnage in that movie, it just wasn't enough to make up for some of the, you know, the storyline and choices with where they went with the story, where they decided to go, and characters they decided to focus on. One other thing that I did really like about it was the flashback sequence. I thought that was really good. And then moving on to Halloween Ends. I really liked Halloween Ends. I think I probably liked it more than a lot of other people. But again, I just felt like they just went way too off base with some of the storytelling and focusing on certain things in lieu of other things. It definitely did not have enough Michael in it. I thought it had a good Halloween/fall vibe. What sequences we did get with Michael were very good, including parts of the ending. But I'm talking about like the very, very end of the movie. I just really didn't care for. So I did a video where I unboxed all of these, so this is what I would recommend picking up. This is the 2018 on Blu-ray, and then the original classic Halloween. They now have this on 4K through Scream Factory. Nice slipcover. So where could the Halloween franchise go from here? Well, I personally would love to see Danielle Harris return to her role and do a whole new storyline with her character, kind of like what they did for Laurie's character in this trilogy. And they could pick that up from anywhere, really, of the movies that she was in. But it would be great if they did it in a way where you could watch those movies and then go into this one, or not, and have it still work. And I think that they could do that. So that would be really cool if they did that. And I think I heard a rumor that she expressed interest in doing that, so you never know. Moving on to a couple recent releases that are on my watch list. These are all horror. Number one is The Leech, which is like a horror movie, takes place around Christmas. Number two is Feed Me, which is like a cannibalistic horror movie. And then Two Witches. These have all been released for a while now, so if you want to go, you can stream them, and the trailers are out there for all three. And then some other upcoming releases that I'm excited for, as well as a little rumor mill. Number one is Shelby Oaks. This is projected to be due out near the end of 2023 or beginning of 2024. Number two is the mental health and horror documentary, projected due out end of 2023, beginning of 2024. But that's very tentative because there hasn't been a lot to come out about this at all. We don't have many stills, no teaser, anything like that. So I haven't really heard a whole lot of news on this. It was from like a Kickstarter campaign that was successful. Number three, Deadpool 3. It's going to star Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman. This has been confirmed that he's coming back as Wolverine. This is due to come out sometime in 2024. Number four, the new Alien film is in the works through Hulu. And both Fede Alvarez and Ridley Scott are involved. A possible name for this is Romulus. I've also heard that it's possible that this will take place between the first Alien film and Aliens. But again, these are just rumors. Number five, Sicario 3 is allegedly in the works, and Emily Blunt is rumored to return for this one. And number six, pre the actual release of the first one, a sequel to Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey was greenlit. So that is also reportedly in the works. So that's going to do it for this video. As always, thanks for stopping by and hanging out. Thanks for watching. Subscribe for more, and I'll catch you next time. Bye.